Hello, my name is Joseph Propati, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my new game, Zombies All Around Us. Now, this game was designed for the 9-card nano game P&P design contest that's going on right now on Board Game Geeks, and just get a little bit about that. The game designed for this contest is design a game that has 9 cards that uses, you can use both sides of the card, and uses 18 components. The components can be dice, discs, meeple, cubes, little crystal tokens, and coins. And you can use any combination of up to 18 of those components. So that's running right now, and we're looking for people to design new games for that contest. And this is the game I've created specifically for that contest. So, Zombies All Around Us. This is a tower defense dice rolling game. This is going to be where zombies are continuously spawning and attacking this house that you and your other player or your partner are trying to defend. The goal of the game is to defend this house, keep the zombies out for either 18 turns or 24 turns, which in the game are represented as hours. So you're trying to survive through the night and the next day, looking for support in the following day. With the design of this game, it uses 3 reference cards. These are the 3 reference cards, which are front and back, and then 6 floor plan architecture cards, which represent rooms of the house. Now, to explain a little bit about each card, with the room cards, you have an A side, an advanced side, or a B side, beginner side. This first game, and what this video is going to talk about, is the components, the setup, some rules, and some examples. So I'll set up a 6-room house. You can set up a 4-room house, and some of the levels that you can change on the game to make it harder or easier are, 1, whether you do a 24 turn or an 18 turn game, longer, obviously harder, or if you use the advanced side or the beginning side. And you'll notice, so with the room cards, you have a room of a house, and it has access points, which are either windows or doors, and they'll have a red X next to those access points. Those are where the zombies are trying to get in on the perimeter of the house. Inside the room, you have spaces for your players to defend those zombies from getting or breaking into the house. Now, the conditions for winning and losing Zombies All Around Us are, since it's a co-op game, it can be played solo or 2-player. You are working together with your partner, so if one of you dies, the game's over. If you lose 2 rooms of the house, if the zombies break in and overtake these rooms, 2 rooms, and you can't kill them and clear the room, you lose the game. To win, basically, is prevent those conditions and you win the game, as long as you survive the amount of turns. So we have, in this game, I've used all 18 components, but they're all D6. And for the contest, you can only use D6 for the dice. The dice representations are, the blue and the yellow are the players. This is player 1 and player 2. The number on the dice is the health. So as you get hit by zombies, you will decrease in health, and if you go below 1, you die. You can, during play, heal yourself, and that's an action. Same with the yellow player. So good idea is when you start the game on setup, you want to kind of give yourself some distance so you can cover as much ground as you can. Then you have a white die and a black die. The white die represents the turn tracker. So, and the way this works, you have a number of turns, and I'm going to do, for my example, it's going to be an 18 turn. You have the zombie turn, blue player turn, and yellow player turn. So each one of the columns you have the turn. And 1 represents you're on turn 1. When you go to 2, this is turn 2, until you get to turn 6. When this gets to 6, there'll be a zombie shift that happens during the game, and then you will change it to 1 and go to the next column. Same thing, you'll go 1 to 6, get to the next one, there'll be a zombie shift, and then on the last one, the last zombie shift, and then if you can make it through there, if you win the conditions, you win the game. So that's how turns are tracked. The way the players are tracked is when it's a new turn and there's a spawn, we go to the blue player turn, yellow player turn, zombie turn. That's how you'll track whose turn it is. So it always has turns, and in each turn there's 3 phases. So we have, first phase is we spawn zombies. Phase 2 is player turn, which again will be tracked blue and yellow. And then when it gets down to here, we have the zombie turn. So those are the 3 phases. Zombie placement, player's turns, zombie's turn. That's what the white dice is used for. The black die is your action die. This is what you're going to be rolling to place zombies, to attack zombies, basically do anything, you'd be rolling this. Then you have the rest of your dice, which are zombies. Now, green are regular zombies. Right, we'll put this offside. And red are super zombies. Basically, super zombies are these mutant tweak zombies, radiated mutant zombies, however you want them, but they're twice as hard to kill than regular zombies. And there'll be 2 of these. All of these get placed in a cup and will be spawned from the cup. It can be a cup or a bag. The yellow die that goes in the cup, this is to show when you pull this, if you pull this yellow die, 2 zombies attack instead of 1. Normally each turn on the placement turn, you pull out 1 die, and that zombie's the one, that group is going to attack. If you pull this out, you'll have 2 zombies attack. So we'll put that in. So basically 4 dice are used on the board, and then the rest will start in the cup. So this should be your layout. Now players can place their player pieces in the same room if they want. It's totally up to them. In the start of the game, neither player has a weapon, and the weapon itself is what you use to kill zombies. Now, don't think of a weapon as a gun. This is something, you didn't have a gun, you broke into this house, it was partially barricaded, so you kind of went through, checked all the barricades, and then you used components in the house to build weapons. It could have been a table leg, it could have been a piece of wood. That's what you're building weapons out of. So they can break, and you have to build a new one. So during your turn, the only way to kill a zombie is to have a weapon. If it breaks, you can't kill a weapon, or you can't kill a zombie. So we will talk about, initially, zombie placement, the very first turn. So you have a card, it's called zombie placement. And again, you can do a 4-room house, or you can do a 6-room house. This will be the side you'll use for a 4-room house, and this is for the 6-room house. The way zombie placement works is you start the turn, you draw a die, you look at it. You roll the die to see how many zombies, so that's 5 zombies. Then you take your action die, and there's going to be 2 rolls to decide where you place it. 1 through 6 correlate to the room, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then the next die will be based on the actual access point. Each room has an access point, or multiple access points. If you want to play an advanced version of the room, you'll have 3 access points, more area to cover. But no one will play all the B cards when you set up. Just make sure that you have all the cards that say B when you lay your beginning game for your 6-room house. So we'll roll the dice for placement. We get a 5, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Since there's only 1 on here, you don't have to roll. You place a zombie, okay? So that means this access point has 5 zombies. Now, one thing to remember is once you place a zombie, as long as the number is not a 6, the barricade that you've had set up on this window or door should hold the zombies. If these zombies ever reach a 6, they can start to break in and break through that barricade. So as long as the number is 1 through 5, you're not too worried about it breaking in at that time. Once it gets to 6, then you have to worry. So again, placement is draw a zombie, roll the dice to see how many zombies there are, then you roll your access die to see where it's at. The first roll will be the room, the second roll will be the access point in the room, whatever window or door. Okay, so that's all there is to placing a zombie. Now there's different conditions that may happen. Sometimes you have super zombies, okay? And you might have a zombie in a location that you roll. So if you rolled that 5, let's say you picked a green zombie, a regular zombie, and this was the location. If this was a 4, okay, the way it works is this amount of zombies gets added to this, right? So this changes to a 6, this goes to a 3. Now this zombie pack can start to break in when it's during the player's turn or on their turn. They have to be stopped. But you have this group of zombies that need to go to a location because each access point can only handle 6 zombies. So what you do is you do a zombie shift. And on this part of the card, you'll see there's either a counterclockwise or a clockwise shift. And it's just based on the roll. So you have these extra 3 dice, or 3 zombies. Let's see where they move to. Well, a 4, 5, or 6 goes clockwise. So you just take these 3 and move them there. And it would be the same thing if there was some zombies in this one, right? If there were 2 here, and they moved to here, well then all you'd have to do is make this a 5, throw that back in the cup. So now you've supplied that pack. You can only go up to 6 for the pack. No extra dice will sit next to it. Okay, so that's the zombie shift, and then it adds to those zombies that are existing. Now if it was a super zombie pack, what happens is if a super zombie pack here goes, they're basically pushing these guys out of the way, and then they will take the place, and then you will shift these. Okay, and they would do the normal shift. If there were zombies here, you'd fill it up and then continue. The shift continues in the location that was originally rolled. So they will continue. If it was clockwise, continue clockwise. If you had super zombies here and you had green zombies that were going to be placed here, they don't do anything with super zombies. You just roll for a shift and then place them on the next open access point or fill in. So that's what happens in a zombie shift when you're placing and there's already an existing zombie pack, okay? And it will also happen during that 6 phase where you're on turn 6 and a zombie shift happens and a number of zombies will shift. It's one of those little nice things that throws you off during the game because you may be thinking that there's specific locations that the zombies are at. Well, up to 3 can start shifting around. So we have turn 1 and we've done a placement of 5. Now that would be the first turn for zombie placement. That's phase 1. Now we go to the player's turn. So we start with the blue player and we move our dice up. Now each player has a number of actions they can do during their turn. They have 2 action points to spend on a certain number of actions that they can perform. Now they have, if you look on your reference card for turn actions, you can do a movement, kill a zombie, heal, build a weapon, strengthen a barricade. And these all have a certain number of actions that they will use to accomplish that task. So let's talk about movement. Movement is, for a 6-room house, it's a half action per room. So if I wanted to move my character here, that would be 1/2, 1. But I still have another action because each player has 2 actions they can perform during their turn, which would leave me the ability to either move and, since they're moved here, they took 1, they have another action they could kill if they have a weapon, if there was a zombie, or they can strengthen a barricade if there was a 6. So if this was here, it would take 1 to get there, and then they could use a strengthen barricade to prevent these zombies from getting in. That's movement. Kill a zombie. So zombies don't have to be on 6 to kill. If you're here and you have a weapon, and you'll notice there's 2 spaces here, this is kind of a tracker for each player to let them know whether they've lost their weapon or they have a weapon. So let's say you were fighting and you lost your weapon. You want to place the guy here, which says you can block these zombies if it ever gets to 6, because only zombies that are a pack of 6 can start moving in. But you can't kill. Now if it was here, you know that he still has his weapon and he can start killing zombies and use those actions. So this is just a reference for each player. And if there were 2 here, you just stack them to let you know that both of them don't have it. Heal. Now if a player is getting low, right, 1, he's down to 2, you can use your turn to heal. It takes 2 actions. You take those 2 actions and just increase the die. That's your turn. Then let's say it was the yellow player's turn. If he was on 2, he did a heal, so then he would be on 3. And that would be their 2 turns. If you want to build a weapon, let's say you try to kill a zombie, and when you're trying to kill a zombie, so let's say we had a 5 here and you had a weapon, and you go, oh, I'm going to knock this down again because it's so close to 6. Well, if you roll a 6, you kill the zombie, goes to 4, but you broke your weapon. Move it to here. Now you can't kill zombies, so you're going to have to wait your turn and you're going to have to build a weapon. It takes 2 to build a weapon. So when you're building a weapon, place the character on this icon that says build a weapon. That lets you know that that character is trying to build a weapon, and during his turn he will succeed with those 2 actions. But you have to have 2 actions to do it. So both players could be doing it at the same time during their turns. Once they build a weapon, next turn they can start killing zombies. So, and they would move into here. So building a weapon is 2 actions. You can do that during your turn. Last one is strengthen a barricade. And the way that works is whenever a zombie pack is at 6 and they're ready to break in, you can, if you didn't have a weapon, block them and strengthen this barricade. And what that does is on your turn, you're keeping them from breaking through the barricade by strengthening it, and it prevents you from taking damage. If you didn't have enough actions and you were here, you can still block the zombies from getting in, but they're doing so much damage to the barricade and they're reaching in and grabbing you that you're going to take a point of damage. So you would take a point of damage during your turn, but they still didn't get in. And then I would explain on their turn what happens when they're 6, if they're 6. So strengthen barricade just prevents you from letting them break in and taking a damage during your turn. Okay, so those are the things: movement, kill zombie, heal, build a weapon, strengthen a barricade. You'll notice that each area you have the location for showing that you have a weapon or don't have a weapon, and these could be for either one of these access points. So we have talked about the actions during each player's turn. Now let's talk about the zombie turn. So again, we have a zombie pack that's on 6. Any zombie packs that are on 1 through 5, they don't do anything on their turn. It's only zombie packs that are at 6 when they start doing things. So if you have a zombie pack on their turn that's 6, if you cannot get to this zone, they are going to break in on and move during their turn. Now they've entered the room and you can say this room is now taken, unless you can get in here and kill all these zombies, right? And the only way that works is you don't want to be in the room. You'll be blocking an access point that they will go to, and you'll slowly weed them down. But once they've reached this breach and broken through the barricade, that room is gone. Now 1 room is gone. And that's if you can't block them. Now if you can block them, whether you have a weapon or not, on the zombie turn, you block them from coming in, but no matter what, you're taking a point of damage. So to remember, on your turn, if you can strengthen, you don't take a damage. But on the zombie turn, and it's still 6, you'll take a point of damage. If you couldn't barricade on your turn, you'll take a damage. Then on the zombie turn, you'll take another damage. So you could take up to 2 points of damage during your turn and the zombie turn together, if the zombies are at 6. Okay? So during the zombie turn, all you're worried about is zombies that are at 6 that can break in. You either want to have someone here to prevent it, and like I said, it doesn't matter if you have a weapon or not, you're just trying to prevent them. You're not using any barricade strength or anything. This is just blocking them from moving in. If you aren't there, they will move in to that next space. This room is now considered taken, and on the next turn, they will take one of these 4 zones, okay? And it could just be randomly picked. So once they're in these locations, you got to block it just as if they were in an access point to the outside. Now, something to remember, if a room is taken and you roll, during placement, and you get this location, the zombies still start here, but since no one is in this room to block them on the zombie movement, they will move here. And if these ever get wheedled down, well, let's say this was 4, right? And again, if it's not 6, it's not going to get in. So you could roam around here. They're just kind of pounding around. They don't know how to get in. They're just pounding on the door. But these 2 will now reinforce this to a 6. And now you've got to stop these just as if they were on a access point to the outside of the house. These are all treated exactly the same way. Once it's a 6, now they're trying to get into this room, and you have to treat it the same way and block them the same way. So zombies on placement always get placed on the perimeter, but on their turn, they will move in, then they will reinforce other zombie packs that are within the room. Now you can weed them down through damage, and if this one gets down below 1, and there's no other zombies in here, you can now gain this room back. And you still have this process where you have to block them from coming in. But you didn't lose the room, you were able to save it. So it is possible to save the room by killing all the zombies. Right? Now, those are the player, that's the 3 phases during each turn. Now, just to give some examples of what can happen during players' turns, let's say we have, and then the shift. So let me explain the zombie shift that happens. So let's say on turn 5, this turned to 6, right? You finished 5 and then you change this to 6. This will create a zombie shift. And what happens is, let's say you have a 5 here and you have 2 here, right? You have 1 here, right? And then you have a couple here, and then a super zombie. And something to remember too, whenever you roll, you pull a red die and you roll for super zombies. If you roll less than 3, it's a 3. Okay? Zombies, super zombies only start with 3 or higher. So if you roll a 1 on it, just change it to 3. And it starts with 3. If you get a 4, 5, or 6, that's going to be what the value is. But 1 or 2 changes to 3. So let's say you have this. When this turn sequence changes to 6, you have a zombie shift. And what that can do is, you roll your action dice, and you can either have 1, 2, or 3 zombies that will shift. In this case, we have 2 zombie packs that are going to shift. And the way that works is, you will roll, just like as if you were placing zombies, you roll the die, you get a 1. This is the only one on this room, so this one will shift, okay, this pack. Now you roll the direction. Get a 4, that's a clockwise, so this now becomes here. That pack has moved over here. It's kind of rambled over, now it's shifted here. If, just like in placement, this was here, this would get pushed, you would roll for which way it goes. 4 means clockwise, so then this would move here. So one shift can cause multiple shifts. And another example would be, let's say we had a 4, okay? And this became the second one that was going to shift. So we rolled and it ended up being a 4, that's a clockwise. We would move that to here. Well, this is going to now reinforce this. This will change to 6. This will change to 3, right? This is now ready to break in on the player's turn, but we have to shift the rest of these 3. Now, since it was moving in this direction, it will continue to move. Now we could have, let's say we had this. That was reinforced 4. We move these over here. This gets moved to a 6, and we have 1 left, and then this one gets moved to here. So now this 1 zombie shift created 2 packs that are ready to break in. It can cause all kinds of havoc when you do a zombie shift, and up to 3 zombie packs can move. So just remember, when you're on a turn, right, 5, on this turn, if you get to zombie turn, right, at the end of the zombie turn, when the turn is completely over, you up it. If it turns to 6, then you perform a zombie shift, and up to 3 zombie packs can move. You will roll for each one. If they start to supply zombies, right, if it was a 6, this would now be 6 and 2. This would continue to here. This would be a 3, and then any remainder, if it doesn't go beyond 6, gets thrown into the cup. Okay? And the shift is what causes a lot of groups to create zombie packs at 6. And one thing that you have to worry about for the super zombies is, since they will both either start at 3 or higher, zombies can shift and create super zombie packs that are now ready to break in. Now, some rules that you have to remember when dealing with the super zombies. Super zombies aren't killed by a 1. Everything is doubled. So if you want to kill a super zombie, you have to be in the room or start in the room, have 2 actions. 2 actions will kill a single zombie. Okay? But the way that works is, whenever you're attacking a zombie, you roll. Like I said before, if you roll a 6, you do a kill, but you break your weapon. If you're attacking a super zombie and your first roll out of those 2 attacks is a 6, you're not going to kill any zombies, right? You have to have 2 successful rolls. It could be the first roll was successful and the second one wasn't, then you killed a zombie, you're good. Another way to kill super zombies is you can support as a team and both use a kill action at the same time. So during these turns, if you're trying to kill super zombie, you put it in the middle of the 2. Both players take an action to kill. They both roll, and they can kill 1 zombie. If they do, knock to 5, and now it's not going to come in anymore. So super zombies will either build up based on a shift, or they will start as a 6 based on the roll. So these ones can be killed, but you need 2 to kill, or you need a group, your 2 players together. The next thing to remember with super zombies is blocking. If you want to block a super zombie that's at 6 and you don't want to take any damage, you need to spend 2 actions to strengthen a barricade. You can still stop them. Doesn't matter if you have a weapon or not. If you can't strengthen anything, you're okay. But you're going to take a damage if you can't spend 2 actions to strengthen this. So during your turn, you would take a damage. Then on the zombie's turn, you're going to take another damage. So that's 2 points of damage if you can't strengthen. 1 no matter what on the zombie turn when it's 6. So if you want to do a strengthen and block him and not take any damage, you need 2 actions during that turn. Alright, so that's kind of the rules and how you place zombies, how you attack zombies, how you heal. Again, you can't heal more than 6. 6 is your max health. Strengthening is basically to help you stop zombies and not take damage, but you can still stop zombies even if you can't strengthen a barricade. The other thing is, let's say you have a room taken, right? And let's say you're here, right? So they broke in and they picked a location. So again, you got to treat it like it's a perimeter attack. And if you can roll and kill and get these down to 5, well, you still have to worry about zombies starting here and popping in and reinforcing, but at least they're not going to break into the next room, and you can move around until they get reinforced. So something to remember, that this room will be taken, but they're stopped if it's still 1 through 5, but zombies that come in here and reinforce, they're going to be on the next one. Now, red and green do not they do not strengthen their packs. They're separate zombie packs. Okay, so they have to be treated separately. All right, so those are the rules and how the game is played. Now I will set up a video and I'll go through a playthrough. But I hope that helped out explaining the rules for zombies all around us. Thanks.